Well, many of us love to travel. Not only is it enjoyable, but it does help the economy as well. Alberta has had a stellar year for tourism. In fact, it's been a record-breaking year for travel. But how is Lethbridge and Southern Alberta doing in this department? Well, joining us today to chat about this more is Dominika Wojcik. She is the Senior Director of Communications with Tourism Lethbridge. Dominika, great to have you with us today. I love this topic, tour too, because I love to travel. So what is going on here in Southern Alberta? I hear the province as a whole has done very, very well.
Yeah, we're really excited that tourism is finally getting back to a really good spot. And we also collect data, of course, and we do what's called the Power of Tourism. And that document will be released in the coming weeks. So we will also have our numbers to share, which I can tell you we are looking good and it's looking better than it has since 2019, which is fantastic to hear.
Right, of course, that goes back to COVID when everything kind of shut down. And so since then, we've seen that slow sort of get back to normal, right? And it just seems like the past year has just exploded. I know I myself, almost anytime I take a flight out of Calgary into the United States, there are tons of people from the States, Americans that have gone to, like, usually it's Lake Louise and Banff, but you know, we want them to also stay down here where Waterton is as well, don't we?
Absolutely. We have so much to offer here in Southern Alberta. We have great local food. We are some of the best agricultural hubs in all of Canada. And so we have a lot of great things that we can offer many visitors coming. And we're excited that they're finally realizing that. We've seen many people who have chosen Waterton over Banff because Banff is getting busier. And so they want to come experience something a little bit more serene, a little bit quieter. And so that's been fantastic. As a UNESCO hub, we like to refer to ourselves as, we have 4 UNESCO hubs all around us that can showcase Waterton, Head Smash and Buffalo Jump, Writing on Stone, and of course the Dinosaur Park. And those are all day trips that people can do and stay in Lethbridge and still get to experience all the things Lethbridge has to offer as
Yeah,
well.
wonderful. Can you maybe explain how much of an impact tourism has had on our local economy here?
Of course, tourism is a major economic driver in Lethbridge, as it is anywhere, but it does generate revenue for visitors spending in accommodations, restaurants, retail, of course, local attractions. And so those contributions are huge in our industry. They create new jobs, they create opportunity for new infrastructure, and everything kind of in between. The events and attractions that we have in our city are helping to draw these visitors in, which we know they're spending their money, and we want them to because that just continues to put money back into our economy and supports all of our local businesses. As we know, they all need support, and it helps to increase some of those tax revenues to create benefits for our community. So because of that, we're excited that the economic impact is so big.
No kidding. Now you mentioned opening up jobs and you know how it's so positive for businesses here in the community. But is there also a connection between tourism and out of that businesses learning about our community and maybe setting up a location here if they're coming from outside of this area?
So we know that tourism sort of serves as that first introduction point for many potential investors, business owners, sort of anything. It starts with a visit, and how many people have said that they went and traveled somewhere and eventually moved there? That is a very normal thing to hear, and it's no different when it comes to businesses and investors. And in fact, that's why we host events like Brighter Together Food Journey, which are specifically set up to bring those investors here to our city and show them around. Because if we don't do things like that, then they're not going to even think about Lethbridge. And so that's what we're trying to do is bring those types of people in. We work with partners like Economic Development Lethbridge to do work like that because we know how important it is to get people to visit first and then hopefully invest and stay here for the long term.
Yeah, no, good point. Now, of course, like when we think of cities like Calgary, Vancouver, Toronto, they all have a reputation, things that they're known for, which then attracts people, attracts tourism. And I think reputations are derived partially from personal experiences, but also from cities doing good marketing campaigns, correct?
I mean, I think it's a big mix of both. There's a lot that goes into getting people to visit the city, and we like to focus our marketing campaigns are on promoting our unique strengths. From a Lethbridge standpoint, a large amount of people that are coming are visiting friends and family. So those are the family members, the friends of the people who are already here. And so what we're trying to do is make sure that our reputation within the city and outside of the city is a good one so that those people are the word of mouth, I guess, is also a good one.
Oh, certainly. Yes. You mentioned this off the top there, but can you tell us a bit about how you're promoting food tours in Lethbridge?
So we're really lucky that we are part of Canada's premier food corridor. We have some of the best growing conditions in all of Canada. And because of that, we make some of the best food. We have heard from several of our local restaurants that they feel so lucky to be here in a city where they can get local produce within 10-15 minutes. And not every city gets to have that. So that farm to table, it's really true here. We again, I mentioned the Brighter Together food journey. That's all about food and showcasing how food does in Lethbridge. And so we get people to go out to these farms where they meet the producers and they get to experience what that looks like. But then we bring them back into the city to see what that means once they're here, whether that's the farmers markets or the local restaurants creating the specific dishes. And most recently, we created a recipe book, which you can download on our website. And the recipe book is full of recipes made by some of our amazing local producers, our local restaurants. And it's all about using that local food that we are so lucky to have in our city.
Yeah. What kind of feedback are you getting from tourists who are doing this?
They're ecstatic about it. We've had we're close to 1,000 downloads on our recipe book right now. And when it comes to the food tours specifically, they just get excited that they get to do this because again, when you talk about the Calgarys and the Torontos, they don't have these kinds of experiences because they're so much further out to get to. Whereas for us, it's in our backyard. So for them to do a day trip to go see several of our local producers, they're going to get so much out of it and not have to, drive for 6-7 hours in the day.
Oh, so true. Do we get any visitors specifically coming to see our famous train trestle bridge?
There's definitely a market for that. There's always visitors that are coming for specific things. We get a lot of photographers that come and want to see the bridge because it is such a beautiful historical landmark. And we definitely see that. We do have our visitor center that we operate. So usually when somebody comes in, we are always asking, what are you doing and where are you going to go? And even if they hadn't thought about the bridge, by the time they have chatted with us, they want to go see the bridge. We have several photos of the bridge, of course. We have postcards, we have stickers. And once they've seen that, they're really excited to go take a drive by or walk by it and check it out.
Yeah, it's such a beautiful work of architecture, isn't it? It's just an engineering phenomenon, if you would. And
It's true.
yeah, Lethbridge is also certainly known for the Nika Yuko Japanese Garden, and then most recently the Winter Lights Festival, which takes you to Nika Yuko.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And um, I would say that the garden remains one of the most iconic attractions in our city. It blends history with beauty, and every single time we have taken groups there or we have done a fam tour there, everybody feels this overwhelming sense of serenity and relaxation. And that's not something you can get inside of a city very often. So the gardens, especially the Winter Lights Festival, has really grown to draw so many different people into the city. I think that in last year with their numbers, they were at over 30,000 people just for the Winter Lights Festival, which is fantastic, and we love hearing that.
Yeah. And now, of course, Lethbridge is also known for Fort Whoop Up, and some people love to visit Old West and Indigenous historical sites. And I'm told that Germans, in particular, take an interest in this. So, do you see a lot of German tourists traveling, coming specifically for these kinds of attractions?
Yeah, it's interesting. When we go into market where we do sell Lethbridge as a destination, we do hear a lot that the European German people are very interested in Indigenous experiences specifically. And so, we're very lucky because we have so many around us that we can generally attract those German travelers very easily. So it's exciting that they're interested in those types of experiences because Southern Alberta just has so much of that to bring to the table.
Right. They must love a head smashed in buffalo jump and riding on stone, which you mentioned earlier as well. Beautiful, beautiful spots.
Exactly.
Yes. Where do most of our tourists come from besides Germany?
Again, I think our primary markets, with COVID, we're still kind of in that phase where I think most of the people are coming are probably from Alberta.
Mhm.
They're people that are a little bit closer, so it's a little bit easier for them to come over and spend a couple days here and kind of continue on. We've heard that our travelers are doing a lot more of that, where they're picking places that are a little bit closer to home that they can be back in a couple of days. So definitely Alberta market, some BC. We get a lot of people from Montana, obviously.
Mm.
So that's most of where everybody comes from. On top of that, we do also, like I said, have the international market. So we are seeing a lot of, like you said, the German population, as well as a lot of people from Asia as well.
Yeah. And then is the new agri-food hub and trade center drawing in some tourism dollars with the various events taking place there as well? I would imagine that it is.
So we work very closely with the Agri-Food Hub and Trade Center to actively bring in provincial and national conferences and meetings that actually bring in a huge amount of economic impact. So these types of travelers are known to spend more dollars. So they're the ones we like to go after. And so we do a lot of work to try and ensure that we actively seek those out. And in fact, in the last few months, we've secured two conferences that will be bringing, hundreds of thousands of dollars of economic impact into our city.
Wow. Maybe talk to us a little bit about the importance of having an event center like the Visit Lethbridge or Visit Leth.com arena, formerly the NMAX Center. I'm still getting used to that name, Dominika. Okay, so I'm guessing that people do travel to Lethbridge in order to attend certain events like music concerts, and then of course we got the Lethbridge Hurricane, so like sporting events like hockey games or rodeo, right?
We are really lucky to have a center like that in our city because it does attract, especially our neighboring communities who don't have centers like that, and of course outside. And I think it's fantastic that they are creating these events, specifically ones, like we recently had the Thunder in the Bridge Festival, which is a brand new festival. It was 2 days long. Anything that occurs over a few days is really great for us in the tourism world because we know it guarantees people are going to be staying overnight. They're going to do maybe some shopping. They're going to go out to eat and possibly see other attractions. And so we love seeing that. And we love having the pride of a center like that in our city.
Yeah, for sure. Lethbridge doesn't have a zoo, unfortunately, but what about Coaldale's Alberta Birds of Prey Nature Center? I understand that it's the largest of its kind in all of Canada.
It is a fantastic place, and I think anyone who has not gone out there needs to go and take a look. They have grown so much, and they're probably one of the most engaging attractions we have in our area. And not only that, but the work that they do because they're also saving a lot of these birds as well. And so I think it's just a fantastic connection again to our region and showcasing the birds that we have here, right? A zoo is great, but we know we don't have tigers around, whereas we know we're learning about the birds that are actually in our region. And what I love about it, went with my kids, and now every time my kids see a hawk, they know exactly what the hawk is, and it's really fantastic to learn.
I know. I love it there. I actually have learned so much, you don't even realize. It's true. Like when you see a hawk flying, you know that he's probably spotted a mouse or something because most of these birds don't even fly unless they're going after prey. I never knew that before. It's an educational experience.
It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it
Right?
really is. Okay, so Dominika, any final things you'd like to say to our viewers as to why it's a great idea to visit Lethbridge?
I think, just remembering that Lethbridge is just a very unique blend of cultural and outdoor. We have over 200 kilometers of walking and running trails, which most people don't know about. And then on top of that, we have our food. And so we are just really lucky that we have so many different pieces. And of course, we are the hub to so many different places as well. So, we encourage everyone to come take a gander through Lethbridge and check us out and see all, let us surprise you and let us show you what we have here.
Well, thanks so much for being with us today, Dominika. Great to have you on.
Thank you. It was lovely.
Dominika Wojcik is the Senior Director of Communications with Tourism Lethbridge. I'm Jeanette Roche on behalf of all of us here at Bridge City News. Thanks for watching.